you better leave that motorcycle alone before you mess it up.
Hi everybody, my name is John and welcome to Ozark Wheels. Today I'm going to put passenger foot pegs on my Iron 1200 and hopefully this will help some of you trying to decide what to do. The process for 883s and 1200s is probably the same, and that's assuming that the frames are the same and all of the bolt holes and everything are in the same places. But I know that the process I'm going to show you today should work for a late model 1200. Hey guys, I'm making this part of the video before I've completed the project, but I haven't completed my video yet for publication to upload it. I have an admission, and then I kind of want to warn you ahead of time before you start into this project what you're going to get to. Honestly, I wanted to prove that removing, let me put it this way, in one of the videos that I'm going to link down below, the guy said that he did this without removing his exhaust, which you can do it that way. You can either do it with the exhaust removed or with the exhaust still on. There's a different process for each one, and you might need some tools that you don't have if you leave the exhaust on. But anyway, he said that his process took him about 3 hours or so. And I figured with removing the exhaust and doing this and putting the exhaust back on, it shouldn't take more than 3, maybe 4 hours at the max. Well, in fact, it took a good deal more because I got everything pulled apart, got the exhaust off, and pulled my package apart to get ready to bolt it onto the motorcycle. And I discovered that I didn't have all the parts that I needed. I was going to have to do something extra in order to get this done. So here's what it was. This bracket is what comes on the motorcycle. It has 2 holes here, and those bolt to the frame of the motorcycle. These 2 holes right here are what secure the brake reservoir. The bolts go through the brake reservoir and into here. The new bracket has all of this, plus it's shaped differently, but it's got another bolt, I believe it's up here. But anyway, it's got another bolt up high, so you're putting 3 bolts to the frame, and then you're putting the brake reservoir back onto that one. And the problem is, on the new bracket, the one that I bought, and that's linked down below too, the bolts, my original bolts, did not fit the holes in that bracket. And to make it worse, they did not supply bolts that would fit their holes. So I've got bolts and I've got holes, but nothing's fitting. So my choices at that point were to either find bolts that would fit, and I spent all morning running around to different businesses around town, and I failed to find any bolts that would fit those holes. Remember, they're not these holes; they're the ones on the other bracket. So the next thing I was going to have to do, if I couldn't find the bolts to go in there, I was going to have to use helicoils and drill it out and put thread inserts in the helicoils. So that was what I decided to do. I had to get a drill bit, had to get the helicoil kit, and altogether that came out to about, I want to say $30–35 for those. I wasn't counting on that extra expense and wasn't counting on that extra labor, but that's what I had to do. And I wanted to warn you about that before you actually get started on this project, or maybe even before you buy the kit. I don't think there's any way that you can contact the seller and get the specs on that, because they get them in kits, everything's all put together, and all of that information is not supplied to them as part of the data sheet. So I don't know if you can avoid it. Maybe you'll get lucky and you'll have the right bolts, or it will accommodate your original bolts. But either way, be aware that that might be an issue that you face, and be ready to solve it. And then your installation here may not take more than 4 or 5 hours instead of the 3 that I was hoping for. You're going to have to remove the brake reservoir here, and if you do it without removing the pipes, you're going to have to remove these two bolts and jiggle it out. You're going to have to loosen this, take this clevis pin out, and that's part of what you've got to do. And then you get to the adapter plate behind that, and you can go ahead and do the whole thing. If you remove the pipes, then everything here is easy to get to with your normal set of tools, and it's easier, in my opinion, to see, especially for old guys like me who don't see so well, and this is all black in here. All right, now the other side is a whole lot easier. Over here, you've merely got two bolts down here to undo. You get those off, put the new bracket on, and tighten the bolts back down. So it's an easier process, but the right side takes a little more effort. First thing we're going to need to do to get the exhaust off is to get the oxygen sensors released. So that's going to require that we unplug them. Let's get the bottom clip out. And I think I can deal with the top one. Yep, there we go. All right, here's one. There we go. Well, it's not supposed to be that hard, I don't think. But I'm going to put that and remove it, okay? So the front one's undone. Now I'm going to pop the side cover off. Okay. The other one comes through here. So the wire coming through, and it connects right here. So I'm going to disconnect that one. There we go. And snake it out. I can pull this out part way so that I don't remove the clip, but that's going to mean that when I take the exhaust off, they have to stay kind of close to the bike. That's okay. I don't want to get a wrench out and take this clip off right now. I don't have to. All right, so let's go back to the other side. And I'm using 5/16. There we go. Okay. There's the first. Remember I said I wasn't going to be able to take that one very far, so I'm going to move that like that. Okay, that gives me access now to all of this. Make sure I'm not pulling too tight. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to need a Torx bolt. I'm betting it's a T40. And I am correct. Now this is the brake reservoir.
Brake actuator.
And these, I understand, are not all that hard to strip out, so I need to be real careful. Really careful.
There we go. Opened up. Good deal.
Okay. And shoot. Okay, brake should pull out of the way, ever so slightly. Right, okay, now what I'm going to do, I'll take the plug out of that one, remove these two bolts, take those out. Those are Alright, so let's put this one in. It will, oh, I've got to unscrew this. That's going to take a punch.
So,
there it is. Alright. Okay, alright, we're good. Let me give this its own little pile here, because I'm not going to use all of these, and some of them are for the actual pegs. Okay. What's that? Nope. Was that the one?
yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Let's see. That tightens it down. Next, we snug the brake back up, and those are these, I'm pretty sure. Okay. I'm gonna make sure. Nope. You got the wrong one. Alright, so this is going to take a little extra effort. I'm going to have to go to the auto parts store with this and get the right size bolt. Well, folks, that stops me for now. Unless I tap that, I'm not going to be able to get those bolts in. Well, I didn't intend this video to take a left turn like it did. There's a problem with the part that I ordered. I'll put a link to the foot pegs that I ordered down in the description below. And maybe you can find another set of foot pegs that will work properly for you on a Sportster 1200. If you order this set, then I'm going to give you a little extra work to do here that you probably wouldn't want to do. And if anybody else watches this and you know how to get around this, or which set will work properly without having to do this, then please let me know. Leave a comment below. But the problem is that the original part. This is the bracket that comes off of the frame. This is the bracket that the brake reservoir is currently screwed to. There's two bolts. One is here, and the other one goes here. Now these are 5/16. Let me make sure here. Yeah, these are 5/16 bolts with an 18 pitch thread, and they go in the old one just fine. But the brakes get screwed on right here on the new bracket to these two places, and the problem is that this, I think, is the right size. I think it's 5/16, but I think it's the wrong thread pitch. I went all around trying to find bolts that would fit here, and I simply couldn't. I spent all morning on it, and so what I finally decided to do was to spend a little money, which amounts to about $35 or so, to drill these out and put helicoils in them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to spend a lot of time recording the process to put in the helicoils. I may show the drilling just to show you what I'm doing, but when I get done with that, then I'll come back and do the rest of the installation. I really hate that it came out this way. These things, if I saw the right product on eBay, and eBay is where I ordered these. If I saw the right product, then they should have come with bolts that would mount here. In other words, to replace my original bolts. The problem is they didn't come with any bolts to fit these holes. So, I mean, that's my issue. I'm hosed to go forward unless I get the right size bolts in there. So I'm going to go with the original bolts, just using helicoils to fit them in. And that's it. Okay, well, I did the drilling. Both sides are drilled out. I've got the helicoil installed in one side, and that goes in just fine. So I will, okay. Anyway, I'll tap that and put the other one in. We should be good to go soon. Now, the issue will be whether it fits through the brake actuator. I think there's enough room that it will, so we'll go see. I got the helicoils put in and ready to put the bracket back on. This new bracket replaces the old one because there were no foot pegs on it, and this. So it had the two bolts there, and then it had these for the brake reservoir. So let's put that back together. And okay, and next is the configuration for the exhaust pipes has changed a little in the last few years since the last motorcycle I worked on. So if you haven't pulled this apart yet, I'll show you how this is put together. Now, you'll see this bar. This bar will attach right here. Oops. This bar will attach right here. I like to pull those out first, but that's where that one goes. Now, you see back there the two bolts on the back of the muffler. Those go in those holes, and then the same up here for this one those holes, actually, those go there, and those holes will match up here with these bolts. So that's how that goes on. This bar is held on here, and then the mufflers are held on to other parts of that same bar. And there's a crossover tube between the two mufflers. This is a new one for me. Crossover tube, rather than having that be what secures the mufflers, it's welded in so that your pipes, your front and back, are a one-piece unit as they come off the motorcycle. Alright, so let's put them back on. I have pulled mufflers off before where they were just a solid piece of metal. You couldn't unscrew the nuts holding the mufflers on. And I even broke one stud and had to drill that out. So I'm going to put some anti-seize on each of the studs, just a little bit. Now we'll be in good shape for the next time I pull them off. Let me get this wiped off. There are a couple of ways to put the exhaust pipes back on. You can, I got too much stuff going on here. You can bolt up everything on the bottom, I'm pretty sure, then snug them up to the heads, and then finally bolt everything in here. Or you can put the mufflers on first and then put all of this mounting hardware on from the bottom. And that's the way I'm going to go with it. Alright, so let's put the peg on here. You want the pointed side down so that it'll swing up like that, and then stop. Put those two where they're flat right here. I don't know if you see that. So that puts the flat sides of the rounded part in there first, and then maybe I can slide the springs in at the same time. Yeah, that's going. All right, slide that in. Let's go this way. All right, use a screwdriver to get everything lined up. I think. All right. Let's see if this is a little smaller. Yeah. No, that's not going to work. Nope, nope. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Look at that trick. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to get a hammer. Yep, that got it through. All right, and slip that pin on, and should be in good shape. Yep. All right. Do the other side like that, and be all done. And so that's the process for installing passenger foot pegs on the Harley Iron 1200. I hope this video helped you, and if it did, please click on the like button down below, and also subscribe and hit the bell icon to keep up with what's coming out next on my channel. Next up, I think I'm going to install front pegs, highway pegs, and I've got the kit coming in soon, so I'll take care of that in a few days. And so we'll see how the channel comes out. I hope to have other content pretty soon. Thanks much for joining me. I'll see you next time.